Gotta get that cup of D. I earned my D. I earned this D. This D's got some, it looks like it's got some like weird white flecks on it. I'm not so sure about that. Ah, it's too warm. Ah, it's too backlit. Jeez Louise. Hey, what's up? How you doing? This is what 3 days of editing looks like. Is your fucking Beastcast shirt, fucking shorts. Feeling pretty raggedy today, but feeling good because we got the project done. It wasn't a total disaster, and I only fucked up one spelling mistake, so we're not too bad. How do I take my coffee? This is a Keurig, and I ran out of the one I like, so this is some weird caramel blend thing which I've never fucking seen before, so I don't know. Thanks so much, Derek. Yeah, so I decided I might do like a little Q&A type thingy. Because I do a lot of that on the Discord for patrons and stuff, but I haven't talked to anyone about this in thanks so much, Minty. Since it's gone up basically, or since this week, because I've just been on my own editing and collaborating with Jeremy. So yeah, apologies to those of you who are watching it right now, or if you just took a second to. I feel like part 3 is like you can tell the trajectory of the edits because this stuff gets edited over like it takes time, but I do a lot of it. Like the bones of the tone of it is in the last week, and you can tell the trajectory of the edit because the first one's super energetic and it's like fuck, we're telling all this stuff, and then the second one's like all right, now we're into it. Now we're like it's like the detail, and the third one's like I'm so tired. Like this is the rest. So, hopefully, I think structurally it's better than the second Rocket League one, which I think actually probably should have done a better job on. But yeah, hopefully you're enjoying it. Thank you, Jan. Really appreciate it. And Ronaldo just finished part 3. Thank you so much. Will you stitch them together to make one video at some point? Alan, it's weird. People ask about that a lot. The reason why I don't do them as one big video is because, like, the pacing. It would just be all over the place. If I stick them, they're in a playlist, right? So they are technically stuck together. You can just watch them in a row. I guess the credits is the big problem, right? Because the credits are going to happen every 20 minutes. But yeah, like the reason why we do them separately, it's weird because people assume it's like because of like views and clickbait and stuff like that. We don't care about that. Like we're totally agnostic to views. Because we're paid for by patrons, so we don't care. Like, I don't monetize any of the... No Clip has 0 advertising on it at all, including the pre-roll on YouTube. So, like, we don't really care. The reason for splitting them up and for doing them that way is because we then get to, like... Each project then doesn't just... It's not just like, here's the history of... It becomes like a sort of a... Ooh, which stories can we tell in here? So, like... If we were doing like a straight history of it was going to be like 60 minutes or whatever. I'm doing that thing where I'm looking at myself and not the lens. Fucking Skype, it's the same thing. If we were doing that, then like I wouldn't have done 20, 30 minutes on the design of the first level, right? It just wouldn't have fit right. But if we break them apart, then we can sort of like focus on stuff a little bit more. Funny you're saying you're watching RoboCop because the amount of people who have bought or have watched the last Boy Scout in the past 2 days and hit me up, which I've never seen either. I bought that on Amazon. That cost like $6, but it's the DVD's from 1999, so it really worked. Now that No Clip has 2 doc series out, have other studios been more receptive to you coming into film? Sorry, excuse me. Sorry, feel free to repost questions as well if I missed them. I saw a couple of them flew past there. Like yes and no. To be honest, we have a lot of people who are already talking to who are probably just feeling a little bit more relaxed about it. I mean, I think it's definitely going to help with, we worked with Bethesda on Doom, and my hope was that if the Doom project worked well and if we got the access that I sort of like wanted, then it might lead to us working with them again. I think Matt Ferrari and all the folks over there were very receptive to what we were doing. It's a really interesting balance, right? Because like this stuff is not, it's editorial content, but it's not but it's a little bit more long form. But it's not like influencer stuff or anything like that. Like there's no. Where's Hero? He's eating behind me. See, I promised cats. There he is. Big fat slug. How you doing, buddy? Oh, he's eating his grass. That's nice. Yeah. So there's no like deals. It's just mutual respect, really, right? But I'm still totally like blown away and like delighted that like we fucking showed Doom 4. Like that might have never been shown ever. Like maybe someday, but we did it. And like the only reason that happened was because they trusted us and because we had a good relationship and yeah, just mutual respect. So you have that same cat fountain. It's pretty solid. They actually drink a lot more water because of it. You should get one if you have cats. So yeah, like I'm looking forward. I think like hopefully I would love to work with those guys again. They have a lot of interesting other games coming out. We did shoot something about Quake as well, so that'll be going up in the new year. Question there: do you think they're working on another Doom title? So we will walk the floors, but obviously, you know, if I had seen something, I couldn't tell you, but I didn't anyway. They were working on multiplayer DLC and stuff like that, which they're all talking about. They wouldn't have let us walk the floor, to be completely honest. I think they will though, because I know that they're working on Quake Champions, and that's sort of Tim Willett's project. And I'm looking forward to seeing more about that. But I think the way Doom ends is very much like, yo, Doom 2's coming. So my hope is that would happen. Asking about John Carmack, I'm not sure if you're asking for interviewing him. Looking into the old id people, without getting too specific, looking into talking to some of those folks soon enough, maybe one of them soon enough. But we probably won't. I don't know what form that will take exactly. It might just be like a special or something. We'll see. Because it's difficult. Interviewing people about games that came out years ago is really weird. Like, people don't remember. There's a part where I asked Kevin Cloud, the incredible, the extended interview of Kevin Cloud. I feel bad, actually, because the only thing I used of Kevin Cloud in the documentary was him talking about the Doom 4 project. He was in charge of SnapMap, which we basically didn't touch. But in the extended, yeah, Naughty Dog is one I definitely want to do. In the extended interviews, he talks a lot about the Snap Map, but also like Quake 3 and stuff. And I asked him what your favorite level you designed for Quake 3 is, because he designed most of them, and he was like, or a lot of them, and he was like, I can't remember. That was 16 years ago. Or 18 years, say 17 years ago it came out, right? 99, November 99, I think it was. She's like, I don't fucking know. Like, and it's like, sure. If you're asking me to talk about a video I edited 5 years ago, I'd probably be like, I don't know, can I go back and watch it maybe and let you know? So it's very strange interviewing people about old games, because you think they're going to remember, they have all these stories, but actually, like, a lot of the time they're just regurgitating stories they told before. You with GameSpot? No, I left GameSpot a couple of months back and to start my own thing. Although I am going into the office today to record a podcast with Drew, so we'll see about that. It's funny, whenever people ask about certain companies that we have actually talked to, I always have to just keep my mouth shut. So hopefully we'll do something with them. We'll see. In talks with a lot of people. Like, there's a dozen other developers we're talking to that would be really cool to talk about. I mean, Bizarre Creations would be a great one. They're sort of at the moment. And the other thing about NoClip that we kind of... Yes, Rockstar is number one on our list of people we want to work with as well, but to be completely honest. I want to get that Hauser brother interview so bad. Sorry, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, the other thing about Maldonado to Mercedes. God, I hope that's not real. The other thing about that is that friggin' we don't want to just do history of videos. Like, we're not just the history of channel or organization, and we've done that with Rocket League and with Doom. So we're gonna pivot a bit in the new year, just like for the first month. Although we have that Quake thing as well, and that's kind of a retrospective. But yeah, so there's going to be interesting kind of the new little directions for some of that stuff. If you have any questions, by the way, send them in. Sorry, I know I'm rambling. Just drinking some D here. How about the vultures reporting on your dock? Vultures reporting. Oh, the news. Sorry, I thought people were like reporting it for like sex crimes or something. I think that's amazing. People reporting on the dock is great. Like, if we're part of the news, if we're making the news, then that's cool. Yeah, I was kind of expecting people to reach out and ask for screenshots or video, and probably would have provided some. I'm thinking of putting out some of because I've got high res versions of all the footage they sent, and obviously we'd voiceover on them and all that stuff. So I'm thinking. I'll ask our folks at Bethesda about it. I might stick up like an asset drop or something and just put a bunch of. Thanks so much for the write up, Tyler. Appreciate it. Yeah, I read that one actually. Thank you. I read all of them. I went through. I'm terrible for that. I have a news Google News thing on for NoClip, so whenever it pops up, I always look at it. But oh fuck, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, for them to report that stuff is great. Oh yeah, sorry. I'm thinking of putting up an asset drop or something, so you guys can watch the video of the gameplay without, our music on it and all that stuff. So we'll see. That'll be, if that happens, it'll be in a couple of weeks. Or once the extended interviews are out as well. Got to see Swery in Osaka. Talk to him about being a sweet ass monk. That would be pretty cool. But if we did that right, like, here's the thing: I'm not going to spend all that money to fly to Japan to just talk to fucking Swery about being a monk. Like, if we do Japan, we gotta do Japan right. So we'll have to see about that. Fob Washed, what up, Steve? How you doing? Hope your kid's doing good. Are you doing all the video editing yourself? So this one and the Rocket League one, yes, I cut them all myself. The color correction is done by Jeremy Jane, and obviously all the shooting. He shot everything. But yeah, the editing, the trailers, all that stuff. For now, I'm kind of a control freak. Like, you can ask anyone at GameSpot I used to work with. Like, I only defer when I'm confident that we know how it works and stuff. So thanks so much, Steve. So right now I'm just doing it all myself. I think eventually, like, Jeremy is an accomplished editor, so I think I would love to give stuff to him, and we've talked about that. But for the first like 5 videos, I was like, I want to do these, if you don't mind. Make sure they're good. The problem is they came in super hot. Like, even with all the planning, I was up last night till 6 a.m. editing and exporting, VBR to 20 fucking bit rate on it. Like, just absolutely ridiculous. Super hot, dude. Super hot. Sorry, I thought you said Frog Fractions, and I saw Frog in there. Frog Fractions is actually made here, so Twinbeard is based in like a 2 miles from here, probably. So you've been at it for some time now. Is it still frightening as it was in the beginning? No, it's not, and for a couple of reasons. One, obviously, we've been very blessed with the amount of financial support that's come in, and you're going to see, like, Doom was kind of Doom wouldn't have happened if we didn't get, like, I had saved up money, and if we'd reached lower on what we were getting, then Doom probably wouldn't have happened, because we had to fly. Fuck off, fucking beeping. We had to fly and book accommodation with like 5 days notice to Dallas, so it cost quite a bit. Like, it didn't cost like fucking that much, but it cost enough that it was definitely something that, like, that we would have had to, like, really consider. And I wanted to tell it. Like, that was, I knew this was the time to tell Doom. Like, the 2 ones I wanted to tell, like, there's probably video. I think there's not video. Austin Walker, I said this to. Jeremy, I said it to. I said the first 2 documentaries I want to do. Number 1, I want to do Rocket League. Number 2, I want to do Doom. Because Rocket League worked out perfectly because it was a new game and all that, it was kind of a new story and nobody told it on video. Gamma Sutra done some really good articles. Doom was one because I thought, fuck it, it's Game of the Year season. They might be up for talking to us at the end of the year. Doom happened like 6 months back. If we could get the Doom 4 stuff, that would be amazing. So that was pretty cool. Holler at me before you book hotels again at family discount. Dude, I fucking get the sweetest cheap-ass Airbnbs. The one we were in Dallas, we didn't realize was actually in some dude's back, like, garden in, like, his granny flat. And he had this, like, pudding green and a fucking little chihuahua dog. It was so strange. We also drank some of his beer. Sorry, and then the other reason that's not frightening now is because people know, right? They know what the hell we're doing. Before, I felt like a bit of a snake oil salesman, because I'm like, we're going to make the ESPN 30 for 30 of video games, and fucking Anthony Bourdain of video games, and I don't know, wait 6 weeks for me to make something while you give me 20 grand. So that was kind of like, getting the first one out was like, okay, look, proof of concept C. But this one is like, oh no, proof of concept C. Like, we're fucking, you know, with the right story, we can tell one that's really grand. Obviously, if we tried to aggrandize the Rocket League thing into something else, it would have been gross, right? But we told that story, I think, the best way or one of the many good ways you could tell that story. But no, it's less frightening now because I feel like people trust us or have seen the watermark. And I think like there are problems that the Doom ones too. I'd love to get back in and edit them a different way and spell Wolfenstein the right way. My wife offered to spell check at 3 a.m. and I said no, and yeah, fuck. Yeah, like I'm a lot less frightened about it now. You said what's it like people having your back? It's amazing. It's kind of two things. It's a good question, Laura. I'll get to that in a second. First favorite scene of yours was the EFMS Elder Scrolls. That's cool. I would love to go back and do the Elder Scrolls again. If we could sit down with Todd Howard, that'd be amazing. Yeah, it's great. Having support's amazing. It also feels like a little bit of a burden because you need to essentially, you know, make sure that people are happy. So I hope people are happy. We do a lot of work to make sure that, like, a lot of the stuff that we do doesn't happen. Nothing happens for like 6 weeks, right? So it's hard. We're not pumping something out every day. So yeah, we're gonna try to keep working on it. I'm gonna see is there a way of like keeping the questions up for longer because the fucking things like just they disappear straight away. Somebody asked, Blu-ray released. So probably not. Like maybe. The problem with the Blu-ray thing is like, for instance, like we used fucking RoboCop footage in that video, and that was like we used it without audio and it was short. So like Creative Commons would probably get away with it, but if I sold that shit, like no chance. And we've licenses. We've expanded licenses for like the music and stuff, so I could buy licenses. I could invest in the stock footage, and we have like 2 clips in this whole series, which is stock, which is the helicopter shots, because our drone hadn't arrived. It arrived while we were in Dallas, I think. And then the music, and I can re-up those licenses for broadcast and for that sort of stuff, and it would cost a bit, but like I could do that, but it would take so much effort, and I love the idea of doing like a collectible. So what we're actually doing is, at the moment, we're taking photographs on every shot, on every field trip project, I guess. And I'm also working with a bunch of really talented artists to make like artwork about each project as well. We're giving that stuff out for free. Erica Oracle did a really great 3-part image. It's fucking nuts, actually. I want to get it printed, which we'll be releasing later on in the week. So for a video, I'm like, if people want it, we put it up on super high fucking bitrate on YouTube. Like, hopefully it retains a decent amount of that. Fucking use 4K video downloader, rip it, torrent it, do what you want. Like, no one's gonna hunt you down for that, right? I can't sell them, but just fucking distribute them all you want. I don't want to sell them. But in terms of a collectible, what we're thinking about doing is like some sort of either book or calendar or photo thing, or like some sort of deep dive into each project, because there's always stuff that we never get to cover. And the other thing we want to do, but we're going to wait a while, and we might put it in as a Patreon stretch goal, is we want to do, myself and Jeremy want to do sit-down Mystery Science Theater style director commentary on all the videos, and just have that be a Patreon exclusive. Because there's so much stuff. Like, we could if we did director commentary on anyone on like a 30-minute video, it could be like 90 minutes. Like, the amount of weird shit that went on. And some of those, like the Marty Stratton interview, one of the lights like went on fire, like 2 minutes in, and I had to run. I'm like so stressed. We get to id in the morning. I've got 2 days to interview everyone. I'm sitting down with Marty, the creative lead, first interview of the day, and the light bursts, and we're in the middle of a fucking industrial park in Dallas. So I had to like figure out. Don't worry about reposting. I'll get to it in a second. I had to go to a fucking electronics store and get a thing, and then use Jimmy rig a power supply, and the whole thing nearly blew up in our faces immediately because I used the power outlet, and the thing burst. The tungsten burst. So there's loads of stuff like that. You asked if there was anyone I would go to. Rockstar's a big one. Valve's a big one. Bethesda's a big one. I really want to talk to Mossmouth. He's in town as well. He lives in... Michel Ancel would be cool. I'd actually really love to do one with David Cage. I interviewed him at E3 for GameSpot, and he was so interesting. Super interesting. People ask him really stupid questions. But he's actually like a really clever guy. I asked him about David Bowie, and he gave me the nicest, because David Bowie was in Fahrenheit, and he gave me the nicest response. It might be the best answer to a question I've ever received in my entire life. Yeah, it's I'd love to talk to him as well. But yeah, Mossmouth, I'd love to do one in Spelunky. Actually, I'm going to reach out to him and see if we can do it. Will there be ducks in different kinds of stories, not just successful stories? Yes. Sorry, did I say Fahrenheit? I meant Omicron. Thanks for the heads up. The Nomad Soul. Yeah, so you're right. The Rocket League and the Doom ones are thematically very similar. They are like, oh, we were making a game and we were trying really hard. It didn't do good, but then we made the good game and it did great. Yay! This is Vegas. God, could you imagine? I would love to do a doc on This is Vegas. Fuck, I think that was funded by Vegas, wasn't it? Anyway. So they are thematically very, very similar. So yeah, we want to pivot pretty hard on that. So no, we're not just going to talk about good games. Obviously, there's a little bit of, fucking, not confirmation bias, but like some sort of, there's a success bias that exists there, right? Because the successful people want to talk to you. But we have actually got some developers who have like had projects not go so good that want to talk as well. But outside of that, it's not just about the history of games. There's a lot of like, I don't know, like YouTubers and streamers and, internet personalities and reviewers and developers who aren't in games anymore and things like that who I'd also like to really talk to and do interesting stories of. And then gamers, like people who are playing games in interesting parts of the world or in interesting situations. We want to cover every state in America. That's like a little goal I have, and to tell a story in each one. And I'm already talking to a couple of individuals who aren't like famous or anything, who have very interesting, like unique sort of insights into game playing. And yeah, I think that's probably where we're going to go at the start of January, is go and shoot some really like kind of a bit similar to like Vice's early stuff, but just not like RC, me in front of camera, like that type of element of Vice, but more the like peering through the looking glass kind of thing. But like actually with the same sort of depth and care that we put into the Doom docs, not just like 5-minute little throwaway things, You and Up keep missing each other. You and Up? Up? How do you feel about going into a doc where you're less familiar with the people / story? Oh, JP. Yeah, I'd love to do some JP. Yeah, so that's... a lot of the ones we're talking to now are in that realm. Like games that I've never played, series I don't even like. Again, you're right. Doom and Rocket League, very much in my wheelhouse. One of my both top 2 games of the year for me in the respective years. So yeah, it just requires a lot of research. That's kind of what pre-E3 was like for me for the past couple of years. Was I'd interview somewhere in the realm of like 15 developers a day, and a lot of them were games I didn't know anything about. So I'm familiar enough with that. Obviously, it's different when you're going to interview people for like a couple of days, because you need to have quite a lot of information about it. But yeah. Oh, great question. That I'm definitely planning. I want to do like a day or a week in the life for like because we've already done like the Crash Bandicoot. Crash Bandicoot's a hard one because Naughty Dog own it. Activision owned the IP, but Naughty Dog made it. So already looked into that one. Sorry, what was I fucking saying? Hero's falling asleep. Good boy, Hero. You put it. What was the question I was answering? I forget. The Journey of Nuke.com. Yeah, Batman.com will do next. Oh, specific industries. So now we have this cool thing where we have like 2 musicians, composers, who we have little stories with them in the extended interviews. We will when we put up the full Mick Gordon one. Super nice guy, by the way, amazing. So giving, and gave us so much assets as well. I got uncompressed versions, WAVs of the fucking Doom soundtrack on my PC now. It sounds so much better than the YouTube rips that I had before. Yeah, like so that is one that we were already thinking of. Is like what does a fucking, texture artist do? What does, one of the like previs artists do? What does a producer do? What does a, level designer do, or an assistant level designer? Stuff like that. So I think those ones are going to be interesting, because I'm not sure, because we could do like a local studio and a game that's in development. But if we're interviewing people about a game they're making, then obviously that's difficult, because they might not necessarily want us to show the game that's not been released yet. So, yeah, it's a tricky one, but I'd love to do that. Is that Revan on the shelf standing behind you? Yes, I've actually got a couple of little bits. I've got this is my sort of little area, my little fucking shame wall. I've got the Streets of Rage 2 poster, because that's the best fucking image in the history of video games. I'm sorry. Talk about your fucking... Look at that shit. Every fucking race and gender represented in a fucking dope-ass fighting game. Look at this shit. It's awesome. I love Streets of Rage so much. And then this is my like little fucking area of things. Waluigi arrived. I got him for $5. I got Ryu for $3. Get Amazon's fucking resale thing is the best. Here's the Pinky that was in the dock. He's pretty cool. We get some of this stuff for like flavor, because it helps. The Revenant I took from GameSpot. I got it at GameSpot when I was there, and I took it when I left, so hopefully that was cool. I've got my this thing lights up as well, the Revenant thing. It's really weird. And then this guy's one of those little Funko Pop dealies. It's pretty cool. I've got my little nerdy Fallout section down here as well. Goopshoe, one of the moderators for our Patreon, has sent me this, or gave me that in New York as well, actually. And then the last piece of the puzzle that we used in the dock, where is it? Is it down here? Yes, is the art book, which actually proved to be very handy indeed for setting up the shots on the second one, because we didn't really have anything to focus on. I have the chessboard there. That's one of them. We bought 4. There was 4 chessboards, because I was only going to use one board, but I needed all the pieces. So I've donated 2 of those to a local hospital, and Jeremy took the third one, and the fourth one I needed a chessboard, so it worked out. A deep dive into the QA process for games would be super interesting. Yes, I would love to do QA, actually, especially because it's so fucking boring. So it'd be really interesting to talk to people. Docs on hardware. Yeah, just the right ones. I kind of feel like a lot of the Commodore stuff is being covered by From Bedrooms to Billions. They're doing really good work in the UK on that. And I do feel like, yeah, it is a thankless job. Is my battery about to go, actually? Let me check. Yeah, 7%, I'm good. And I do feel like I'm part of a sort of a loose organization or an industry, a sub-industry of people who are doing like game preservation stories. So if they're over there doing, the early days of PlayStation and the early days of Amiga, they can do their thing. But there's a couple of other ones I'd love to do. Like I'd love to do something on like looking towards Japan, like the Mega Drive. I was wanting to go down to Brazil to do something about the Mega Drive they have down there, because they've just launched the one that even looks like the Mega Drive 2. So that would be cool. Yes, I'm an Arsenal fan. Have been since I was a kid. So those are jerseys I got at the stadium. I used to live in London, so I used to go to games pretty frequently. Pretty frequently? Nah, like twice a year. Some years I went like 8 times, and some years I went once, so not that frequent. But yeah, so we'll see about that. I just don't want to get Zika, that's the only thing. Docs on websites or the industry. Yes, if it was the right one. Kim Justice did a thing on Mega Drive in Brazil. That's cool, I should check that out, actually. Yeah, Giant Bomb's turning 10 in a year and a half, I think. So I'd love to do that. That'd be cool. For the right stories, right? The problem with that is you can get super inside baseball and get a little bit wanky. But the more of these docs we do, I feel like the more we can deviate. Now that we have Rocket League and Doom down, it's like a really solid foundation. And if we deviate a bit, people are like, oh, that's okay, because they usually do these things, right? If we started with like a documentary on Giant Bomb, fucking, you know what I mean? Like that, it would just be like nepotism central. So it's, I feel like the more of these we get down, then the more sort of loose we can be with some of the things we're doing. Yeah, it's all about timing, I think, for a lot of this stuff. So we gotta make sure. The Dan Reichert doc. His life's the Dan Reichert doc. It's got to fucking talk about books. Half my shelf is Dan Reichert books over there. Any more questions? My battery's about to die, I think, so I don't wanna disappear. 5% left on it, so 2 more questions. How many docs a year are you looking at hitting? 1 a month is the goal, or 1 project a month. And then each one of those projects, we got like 5 videos out of this stuff already, and then the extended cuts, so quite a lot of video. So that's the sort of plan. I'm kind of aiming for 10 next year, 10 projects, and then we'll sort of cross our fingers about maybe getting a couple more out. Those are the Christmas lights. Somebody asked about Christmas lights. That's those. Christmas lighthouse thing. When do you head out to shoot Doc 3? I'm shooting something in Ireland, which might end up being some of that. We also shot the Quake thing at Doom, mostly focused on Quake 3. So we might have a whole thing. I talked to Tim Willits for 2 hours about Quake 3 and a bunch of the other people, so we'll hopefully do something about that. And then I'm also gonna go filming in like mid-January somewhere too. So home for Christmas, obviously. For the new year, but also bringing my camera to shoot something there, so hopefully that'll go well too. Black room? I do not have a black room. 1 more question. It gives me a break, but also we'll have all the extended cuts out over the next couple of weeks, so it's not like there'll be nothing on NoClip for the next month. We've plenty, and the behind the scenes video as well. I have to edit that, so. Although it mostly takes place in this room, to be honest. 1 more question, 3% battery. 1 more question, 3% battery. 1 more question, 3% battery. Are all your games focused on gaming, or will they all focus on gaming? Although I might do one on Hero's ridiculous stomach.